Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to those of you around the world, different time zones, different places. My name's John.
I'm Vicky.
Welcome to the news at 9 a.m. UTC. This is the HODLNOTS Weekly Warm-Up, where we can be bringing you some crypto headlines, what's been making news over the last couple of days, actually since last week, Monday, since we saw you last. So let's get into some of those crypto headlines right now. So,
Yeah, and sorry,
yeah,
you or me. So,
that's all yours.
so, so interestingly, even though Bitcoin is in the at the moment, and everyone is panicking, and everyone's oh my goodness, some data has come out recently that Bitcoin has attracted $732 billion in new capital, surpassing all previous cycles combined. So this was actually seen during the 2022 to 2025 cycle, which is obviously what we're in at the moment. So this has led to Bitcoin's realized cap reaching an historic high of 1.1 trillion, with monthly net inflows ranging from 30 billion to 100 billion. So market dominance has increased to 58.3%, with Ethereum's market share actually declining to 12.1%, and the broader altcoin sector representing 21.3% of the total market. So additionally, stablecoins now account for 8.3% of the market, and Bitcoin's long-term volatility has decreased while short-term fluctuations measured remain above typical equity and commodity benchmarks. So even though everyone, like I said, thinks Bitcoin is it's actually in the last 3 years reached higher levels than it has within all the previous other years combined. So I thought that was really interesting.
Absolutely. They're talking about the long-term fluctuations not being as drastic as before. And we do see that, ladies and gents, what we are as Bitcoin is finding consolidation. It's not a major dip compared to in previous times. I think bigger picture, as we mentioned before, more on Bitcoin and its trajectory a little later in the session. But let's carry on talking about Bitcoin because a lot of people were expecting October. November, and yeah, it did go, but not the way that we were hoping. And there is optimism in the market around a rally, at least a recovery for Bitcoin. So Bitcoin, is it poised for this December recovery based on macroeconomic tailwinds and the Federal Reserve rate cut that is expected? Now, this is all according to Coinbase. Bitcoin's Santa rally may be ignited by macroeconomic tailwinds, including the Federal Reserve's incoming interest rate decision, but fearful investor sentiment may take another hit by any of these hawkish remarks from central bank officials. Who are we talking about? You should know. Improving liquidity conditions, however, and rising odds of a Fed Reserve interest rate cut may catalyze a recovery in the crypto market during December, according to Coinbase Institutional. They say, we think crypto could be poised for a December recovery as liquidity improves. The Fed cut odds of it being, sorry, the Federal Reserve rate cut, those odds jumping up as of end of last week at 92% chance of it happening, and macroeconomic tailwinds continue to build, writes Coinbase in their weekly Friday research report. So we are hoping for a little bit of relief. We're hoping for a bit of a Santa rally as we near the end of 2020 survive. So let's see what what's still to come. A lot of optimism still mixed in with some a little bit of anxiety around things. But that said, let's carry on with the crypto news.
Yeah, that is actually going to be interesting because if those of you that were on the happy hour hangout at the middle of the year, we had a little competition. So we wanted everyone to predict where Bitcoin was going to be at the end of the year. And a little birdie predicted 154. So let's see if that happens. And I've actually seen on a lot of news that it is, like John said, supposed to rally. So we'll see. Only a few weeks left to go. So in other news, though, XRP, we haven't heard about XRP in quite a while. And XRP Ledger was in the news because it seems to recorded velocity, which means how many or how much movement is done from wallet to wallet. And that has soared in the last couple of days and weeks. So, despite the overall negative sentiment in the crypto market, the XRP ledger, which is XRPL, recently broke a record for network velocity. And that indicates high levels of on chain activity and investor engagement. So that's great news. So large XRP holders have been moving their assets with a decrease in the number of wallets holding at least 100 million XRP, but an increase in whale holdings. So, additionally, a group of XRP holders with 1 million to 10 million tokens has been selling their holdings in waves over the past few months, contributing to the broader pattern in the market. So XRP is still being traded, which is great news actually, because really anything being traded at the moment is good news. So let's see what happens with that.
What I do love about these news sessions is that I also get to learn a whole bunch of new things. I've never heard of network velocity before, and this is we talk about everything changing hands quite often. And us as scalp traders, we trade in and out of coins. We're always a matter of minutes, right? So we're part of the network velocity. How fast can you trade? Just a reminder, it's how fast a cryptocurrency's tokens are circulating or changing hands within its ecosystem. So network velocity, new word. We don't just bring you the news, we bring you education as well. So let's head on over. We've had a couple of stories like this in the past couple of weeks and months around whether it be PayPal, MasterCard, Visa, but one of the other big giants, it's a bit of an old school one, Western Union. They're planning on having their own stable card to shield users from sky-high inflation. The money transfer company Western Union is planning to issue a new stable card, a card which allows customers to hold and transact in stablecoins, aimed at allowing customers in high inflation economies to preserve the value of their remittances. So, such a card is needed in countries like Argentina, where inflation is so high that workers can see almost half the value of their remittances eroded in just a few weeks. Western Union's Executive Vice President and Chief Financial Officer explained while speaking at the UBS Global Technology and AI Conference 2025 last week. He says, so view this like an issuing card, but it would have a much stickier benefit in a country where there's high inflation. Now, we've spoken about this. We know that there are various exchanges as well, and whether it be centralized or decentralized, that have issued their own cards, and you can actually pay for certain things using stablecoins, of course, whether they be USDT, USDC, and other things. And a lot of other companies are starting to realize this and actually help the citizens of various countries. In this situation, Argentina, where inflation is super high. So, some good news again coming out of the crypto space. Vicky, back to you.
Yeah, and more good news. We go to France, which it's BPC to roll out crypto trading to millions of retail customers. So France's second largest banking group will roll out crypto trading today, or actually it might be today, it might be tomorrow, by two of its banking apps, giving around 2 million customers the chance to invest in digital assets. So BPCE, which is Banque Populaire Caisse d'Epargne, pardon my French, and I know there's some French speakers there, so I really pardon my French, will initially make crypto purchases possible for a small fraction of its 12 million strong customer base, with plans for extensions across all of its banking entities in 2026. So, a banking insider said the goal is to monitor how these services perform at launch. So, hopefully, everyone will jump on and they will roll out more and more and more, and hopefully, more banks will do the same.
Absolutely. We are starting to see some of the world's largest banks, even in countries like Germany as well, start to adopt crypto and start to offer these such services. So great to see France, or at least one of the big banks in France, the second largest, coming on board as well. It's, ladies and gents, we live in a very interesting time where governments are starting to adopt, but with that comes a lot of legal framework having to be kind of sussed out and regulations. Now, one such country that is still busy with that, as are many, that is South Korea. So South Korea is moving to impose bank level no fault liability on their crypto exchanges. What does that mean? South Korea plans to make major crypto exchanges compensate customers for hacks and outages in the same way banks must do as well. According to the report from the Korea Times, the Financial Services Commission in South Korea is drafting rules that would force exchanges to reimburse users for losses from hacking or system failures, even when the platform is not directly at fault. This no fault rule, the report reads, now applies only to banks and electronic payment firms, leaving this gap for digital asset platforms. And this is important. I think there's a lot of responsibility from exchanges and anybody who's offering financial services to be able to protect their customers. So go South Korea, and hopefully the rest of the world will follow as well, looking after its clientele as well. Thank you. Over to you.
Yeah, I mean, we're also afraid of actually what's going to happen on the exchanges because not your keys, not your crypto. So it's great to see that they're doing that. Now, the next one is back to Ethereum because we talk about Bitcoin a lot and other coins. We don't talk about Ethereum a lot, but Ethereum exchange balances have hit an all-time low, fueling supply squeeze narratives. So the Ethereum exchange balances fell to 8.7% of total Ethereum supply last Thursday, which was the lowest level since Ethereum launched in 2015. So almost, well, 10 years. So by Sunday, it was only up to 8.8, according to Glassnode data. So this has intensified talks of of a possible supply squeeze in the market. So more specifically, since the start of July this year, the share of Ethereum on exchanges has fallen by 43%. And a slide that continues with the pickup of buying from digital assets treasury data firms. So by comparison, about 14.7% of Bitcoin is currently held on the exchanges. So that's a huge slide, but we really have to think about that as to why that is, or the Ethereum has been taken off the exchanges.
Well, I mean, basic economics, ladies and gents, so supply and demand. When there is a supply squeeze, so demand might increase, and so might the price as well. I was reading a little story a little earlier about how a lot of people actually still selling their Bitcoin and buying up a lot of Ethereum right now. That's it, NFA DYOR, but we might cover more on the story in later weekly warm-ups. Now, heading over to yet another country and talking about an exchange in particular. We've heard about Binance. We've heard about Binance being in Abu Dhabi, the UAE, and overall. And some further good news as Dubai and Abu Dhabi become these big centers for banking and especially crypto in the world. Binance has secured ADGM licenses to operate to operate their international platform. So crypto giant Binance has been granted three separate licenses from Abu Dhabi's financial regulator, providing a green light to operate its exchange, clearinghouse, and broker-dealer services under the Financial Services Regulatory Authority framework. So the FSRA, an independent financial regulator of the Abu Dhabi Global Market, ADGM, which is a financial free zone in Abu Dhabi, has approved licenses for Binance's Nest Exchange Limited, Nest Clearing and Custody Limited, and Nest Trading Limited, according to news release and announcements from Binance on Monday. Now, Richard Teng, who's the co-CEO of Binance, said in a statement that the licenses provide regulatory clarity and legitimacy, enabling Binance to support its global operations from the ADGM. While our global operations remain distributed, leveraging talent and innovation worldwide, this regulatory foundation offers our users peace of mind knowing that Binance operates under a globally recognized gold standard framework, he said. We are grateful for the FSRA's forward-thinking approach, which safeguards users while fostering innovation. Now, you might be wondering, how does that affect you? You might not be in Abu Dhabi or in Dubai or the UAE in general. However, as Abu Dhabi and the UAE, well, Dubai and all part of the UAE start to really focus on good regulatory frameworks and encouraging other exchanges as well to start to operate from Abu Dhabi and Dubai as well, is that we can start to see other countries hopefully following their frameworks, and we're going to start to see more regulation put into place and kind of the whole process sped up. So it's the reason why we include this story for you guys, just to bear in mind that there are other countries as they're leading the charge, like the US in a lot of ways as well, is that if other countries start to feel a bit of FOMO, hopefully they'll expedite a lot of things and soon, will cryptocurrency become a lot more understood, less fear, more adoption, and all for the greater good. So, fingers crossed, and let's carry on. So, speaking on carrying on, crypto news, that's done. Now, we did touch on a little bit about Bitcoin. It did close the weekly candle at about 88, 89,000. However, it's a little up since then. Tell us a little bit more about the Fear and Greed Index.
Yeah, so the crypto market actually remained fairly steady this weekend, which is super boring for people that try to trade, but it's actually good for the broader market, I guess. It didn't go down. A little bit of fluctuation was happening, which actually caused the fear and greed index to go down a little bit from last week's 24. It's hovering around 20. I think people are, in my opinion, getting a little bit weary and wondering if the crypto market is ever going to recover. And what you said in your story before is will the Fed rate decision move crypto this week? And to be honest, my answer to that is who knows? That's why we say see it and trade it. Don't worry about the news. Don't worry what's happening. Just look at the charts, analyze them, see it and trade it. And it's really, it's a good thing that most people on this call actually know how to scalp trade because that's what we're doing at the moment, I think. So who knows? But let's have a look at Bitcoin to see what it's doing and what you can see on the charts.
Absolutely. Just having a quick look at the watch list is from a number of coins running on Binance. There's some great scalp trades, and I'm also looking at some HODLFI trades setups as well. More on those calls, at least the HODLFI calls, in a short while. But let's have a quick look at what Bitcoin has been doing and is likely to continue perhaps doing over the next couple of days. Now, last week, Monday, we were sitting here on the 1st of December. And it was somewhere in around here that we saw Bitcoin price. And I said to you guys, go back and think about it and have a look. We mentioned that there's probably going to be a bit of sideways action, a little bit of up, but mostly sideways action. And that's exactly what it did. I had mentioned before, the day before the ACC and at the ACC, I believe, and again, ladies and gents, this is my hillbilly TA, that this is the bottom for quite a while and did manage to come up. It got rejected by various levels of resistance. And that drop that we saw last week, Monday, on the 1st of December, was, in my opinion, that second wave that we brought up in one of our news articles as well, much weaker in terms of sell-off. And I believe we're in the slow recovery phase. But again, we're not going to be hitting an all-time high of 126, 127 in the next few days, in my opinion. It's still a little bit of a slow approach, and there are a bunch of resistance levels. I did talk about at least closing above 92. We'd like to see a day candle at least get back on top of that. So if for whatever reason we can actually get this candle to close up above 92, 93, and I'd like to see it up above here, I think we're going to start testing some of the next resistance levels. If you're looking at this and you're like, oh my goodness, I don't know what this is, I just see a bunch of colors. Don't worry, more on that in a little while, especially with our live foundational course starting in January. But that said, there are many ways to be able to read trends and look at trends, and we teach you all of that. So at the moment, just looking at, in my opinion, we needed to see a day candle close up above 92, 93 in and around this region for us to start really testing some of the next levels. And we know that 100,000 is obviously a huge psychological value. So in my hillbilly, a little bit of TA, I believe if we can start to break up 93, 94, we're going to see a bit of positive movement over the next couple of days. It sounds like a weather forecast, but it's a Bitcoin forecast. We're going to start to see some coins and the market in general have a little bit of a respite. There is always a potential that this could end up being a really strong resistance area, and we may start to see revisits down to around 87 or so. But me personally, I think we're starting to look a little bit more optimistic, a little bit more bullish. And I think during the next few days, we're going to be testing the 97, 98 levels, and which means that all the other alts are going to start to push up as well. If that seems a little too confusing, you can break it down and, oops, the wrong one there. You can look at this as an example. You can follow this. This is a HODL fire indicator. Now we spoke about the pivot bottom. This is a temporary pivot top at the moment. It may well disappear. But for those of you who bought Bitcoin back when it dropped down to, these levels down here, about 85, you might still be trading it. But again, that said, we need to see at least close up above 93 for the day candle. I believe that we're going to be in the next few day candles, we're going to be testing this range up to about 97, 98. And then it's going to get really interesting because once it starts getting up there, we've got not only 100,000, but then some interesting challenges up ahead. So my positivity or my spin on this is that there is potential, not only from a scalp trading perspective, but HODL fire trades as well for this week as the market starts to turn up. And I'd like to see the end of the week, probably 96, 97 thereabouts. I think we're going to close Friday thereabouts at that price. I think we're all tired. And also tired of being, like not sure what Bitcoin's going to do and be like, yes, it's going to go. Lots of hopium. But we have to trade what we see. But I think we're going to go up a little. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, it looks to be like that if you are looking at the chart only and not listening to all the noise in the background. So yeah, let's have a look. But again, John said it, I said it, we always say it, just see it and trade it. Don't worry about what's going to happen yet or in the future. Just look at the charts and trade it. And learn your higher time frames, learn time frames. I say it all the time, but it's true. Got to rely on those time frames. If you have not done the course, please do a course. We talk about time frames on every course that we do. So it really is all about time frames. Enough about time frames. So who actually no, I'm going to get back into time frames because we have lodge calls, and in our lodge we do talk about time frames. So this week in the lodge, not exactly in the lodge, but later today at 12 p.m. UTC, we have the normal schedule recommencing again. So those of you who are doing the self-paced course, who are on chapters 1 to 3, will have your call at 12 p.m. UTC. And we have quite a few new people that will be joining Lodge, which is really exciting, actually. So there'll be lots of people on that call. And then there actually will be another self-paced call, and this is a combined one. So any module you're on, any chapter you're on, that is at 4 a.m. UTC tomorrow, Tuesday. So really that's more for the Australian-ish time zone, but the US can jump on that as well if you'd like. And then there will be a lodge call at 6 a.m. UTC, which is Wendy's normal lodge call, and ask her about time frames because that is actually all about time frames. So that is at 6 a.m. UTC. That's our normal call. And then for those of you who have done the HODL Fire course and are in the graduate support channel, we have a call for you that is 12 p.m. UTC Tuesday, which is the 9th of December. So those are always fun. They're actually not webinars, they're actually calls. So you can actually chat with each other. We talk a lot about things. So they're actually really fun to jump on, not like your normal webinar. So that is, again, Tuesday 9th at 12 p.m. UTC. And then after that, not a HODLNOTS call, but if you are a member of the IPO, product, you will have your monthly call, and this will be the last one for the year. And that is at 7 a.m. UTC on Wednesday, which is the 10th. So jump on that. You will see that in your Bitcoin Trend and Forecast back office and in your Telegram channel for IPO. So you don't forget that one. And then the same day on the 10th, which is at 8 p.m. UTC, is the first of our HODL dot calls. And those are for the people who are undertaking the 3M challenge. And even though the market is sideways, you should all be able to find coins on that 3M challenge. So if you're not, please jump on that. That's 8 p.m. UTC and see what's happening, why you're not finding coins. So the second of those calls are the next day on the Thursday, which is the 11th, and that is at 7 a.m. UTC. And that is the second of the HODL dot calls. And that one actually will be hosted by Marcel this week. So it's always good to hear other trainers or other people's point of view. So that's a really good one to jump on. So that's the 11th of December at 7 a.m. UTC. And that is followed, and that will be the last call of the week, by our second self-paced course call, which is for people that are on chapter 4 and forward or more. And that's at 12 p.m. UTC. And the other thing that is happening this week is our HODL Fire course. So our HODL Fire course is the 10th and the 12th of December. It starts at 6 a.m. UTC on both days, and it will go for about 6 or 7 or 8 hours, depending on how long everyone wants to stay on. But that's this week. There are still spots available. So if you haven't done the HODL Fire course, this is a perfect opportunity for you to do it, learn time frames, to get ready for the push that everyone seems to think we're going to have. Again, not yet, but see it and trade it. But it's only 2 days, and after 2 days, you'll be ready and armed to do HODL fire trades when the market does start running, hopefully. And don't forget HODL knots who have already done the certified HODL fire, who are already certified do get a quite a substantial discount on that course. So if you want the coupon code, please create a support ticket and we will give that to you. And then we'll see you on Wednesday. And that's it from the lodge this week.
Absolutely. In the lodge, outside the lodge, there's a lot going on in terms of HODLNOTS training and
Yeah.
education as well. Not just these calls where we share with you, ladies and gents, our thoughts on the crypto news, but yeah, lots of training education, especially as we're going into the festive season. We know some of you might be taking a break as well, but there's still plenty of time to educate yourself up. Whether you have not yet undertaken the foundational trading course where you can actually learn how to scalp trade in minutes, nothing like grabbing 5%, 6%, 7, 8, 10%, depending on the coin, in a matter of minutes. While some of your day trades are playing out, your hodl fire trades, and even your long-term trades taking a little longer to play out, there's still plenty of opportunity to learn how to trade and understand Vicky's favorite subject, time frames. Now, speaking of time, our time is up, but we have time for one last bite. What are we going to be digesting upon in terms of the weekly thoughts, Vicky?
Yes, this week we are following up on our Choose Your Words Carefully series, I suppose. And last time we said, have a good day is maybe better than enjoy your next 24 hours. So this week is another one of those. And this is for all the people who are going to sleep soon or want to take a nap, too exhausted, whatever. Rest in peace.
Take that as you wish.
Choose your words carefully.
Exactly. All right. Enjoy your naps. Enjoy your sleeps for those of you who are. But for those of you who are awake, don't sleep on the market. There are plenty of opportunities. Lots of coins running right now as well. Until next week as well, take care. Ciao, ciao.